That Sober Guy podcast contains adult content, merciless truth, and emotional nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
I'm Shane Raymer. You're listening to That Sober Guy podcast, and we help people stay sober. If it's your first time listening, welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here today. Our guest today is Eric Rogers, and I'm really stoked to talk to him today. Eric is the owner and CEO of Rogers Fitness Academy, and he's persevered through some pretty dark times, homelessness, addiction, incarceration, and there's definitely more to the story. We're going to hear more from him about his darkest moment, where Eric actually almost ended his own life. And I'm so glad he didn't do that, because you're going to get to hear some awesome inspiration, encouragement, and motivation today from him. Instead, he decided to pursue a disciplined life and focus on fitness and nutrition. I'm looking at him right now. He's got massive guns, dudes. Like, let me tell you, bro, the dude is shredded. So he knows what the hell he's doing. After battling and conquering some of life's biggest challenges, he's now a devoted family man. He's a successful businessman, and he's a big mentor to many other people out there. So we're going to get to Eric in just a minute. Before we do that, hey, maybe you're tired of drinking. Maybe that's why you're here today. I know at my ends wit, I was exhausted. We have a 30-day program designed to help you quit drinking for 30 days or more. It's called Quit Drinking Dude, the ultimate men's guide to quit drinking alcohol and stay sober for 30 days or more. You can check it out right now while it's still new. You can get the entire 30-day challenge, the 30-day program, for 50% off. Just use the promo code 50% off. You got to spell it out. You can go to quitdrinkingdude.com and you can check it out there. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram at That Sober Guy Podcast. And then we have an amazing Sober Guy men's group on the Locals platform. Got a ton of good dudes in there talking about recovery, trying to stay sober, and just really in there motivating and supporting each other. So you can check out the Locals app, or you can go to thatsoberguypodcast.locals.com. And all the links from everything we talk about today will be in the show notes to make it easy for you to check those out. And let me take Eric off of mute here as he comes in the little virtual studio. What's up, Eric? It's good to see you, man. Great to have you on the show today, brother. How are you?
Good. What's good, man? Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Yeah,
man. I'm looking forward to talking and hearing a bit about your story, and of course, fitness, nutrition, such important aspects, just in general, but especially for dudes out there who are trying to live a healthy lifestyle free from alcohol, man. So why don't we start here, man? How you doing? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm doing great, man. Excited to be here today. I am from a small town called Pilot Hill, California, population 419 people. Wow. Small town mentality, man.
Where is that?
It's in near Sacramento, in between Sac and Lake Tahoe. I don't know if you ever heard of like Folsom Lake, Folsom Prison.
You still live there? Is that where you still live?
I'm close. I'm close. I'm about 20 minutes away.
We're going to have to link up, bro. I'm just down in Vacaville. I'm not far from you, bro. I go to Lake Tahoe. That's like my favorite spot ever. So we'll rap about that later. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Bro. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you grew up there.
So I grew up there. Actually lived in the same home till I got kicked out of the house. Right. If you look from the outside, my family dynamic was very good. Right. Father was a Folsom prison guard. My mom was a hairstylist. There was a lot of, we went to church every week.
Yeah.
So from the outside looking in, it looked good. But at the age of 7, I had a very traumatic experience happen to me. At the age of 7, I was actually sexually molested by my Sunday school teacher. And wow. You can imagine what that would do to a child. You can imagine. And actually a week later, I knew I had to go back every week. I knew I had to go, see that woman every week. I actually poured bleach in her coffee. I tried to kill her the next week. She got extremely sick, and I was scared for my life. I was like, oh, I'm going to get in trouble. She lived, but I held that secret in because of that. And I didn't tell a single person up until actually this year. It's the first time I've ever spoken of it to anybody. Yeah.
Damn, anybody. That's a long time to hold that in, bro. Hey, bro, I know we don't know each other well, but just from dude to dude and friend to friend, whatever, bro, I'm so proud of you for being able to express that, bro, and get it out. Cause I'm sure that was not easy, man. So that's awesome, dude.
what was crazy about it is it was so repressed.
Yeah.
Because I pushed it down so far that it almost felt like a dream. I almost felt ashamed to speak of it because I was almost not sure if it was real.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, sure.
So faded. But what happened, I mean, the rest of my life from that day to 24 years old, it just makes a lot of sense what happened to me after that. Right. Yeah. The walk that I took, the path that I took, the direction I took. By the age of 8, I was doing drugs, and at small amounts, but household, man. Like I was drinking the whole bottle of Robitussin. I was taking 4 doses of Benadryl just to separate myself from reality. And that's really why I did it. The first time was accidental, found my mom's pills, fell in love with it. And I realized like, wow, this is how I'm going to make it. And truth be told, without drugs, I wouldn't be here right now. Like that's the truth. Wow. Drugs kept me alive. They kept me happy enough to survive. But obviously because of that path, I went in directions so dark with so much more trauma that it just kept piling up and piling up to the point where 17 years old, I was a cocaine addict and dealer. And I had a job. I worked at Round Table, and I get a call from my dad, and he's like, "Hey, you got 24 hours to get the heck out of my house." I get out of my house, get all your stuff. It's all out on the front porch. I never want to see you again. I found your stash, right? And so at the age of 17, I'm homeless. And that night, I found a place to sleep. I crashed on somebody's couch. And I didn't know this guy very well, but I knew he was kind of into drugs. And man, he pulled out a bag of white powder, and I decided I was going to go ahead and take some, and it ended up being methamphetamines.
Oh, shit.
Right. And the type of person that I am, I took it to the next level. And if you see my life now, that's exactly what I'm doing, just in the opposite direction. I'm an all-in type of guy. Like I'll either be extremely bad or extremely good. Like I think that's something that's a part of my identity that I've accepted. And I believe that a lot of people's chance of recovery is in their identity, and for me, it's like, I have to be fully disciplined now. I can't backstep. I can't make mistakes like I used to, because I'll go back. And so I've learned a lot about myself through like realizing how far I'll actually go. And I know that if I just directed that drive and energy into something good, like I could build something great. And so that's what I'm doing now. But I ended up going to jail. And at that point in my life, man, I was dealing with a lot of drug-induced psychosis, signs of schizophrenia. I was that guy on the side of the road, like yelling at cars and biting his shoulder, chewing his tongue, like scratching his face. Like I got scars all over my face from it, my jawline. And I was at a point that I don't think a lot of people would ever get out of. I was that deep, like I was scaring people that were smoking and snorting meth for 20 years. They're like, bro, you need to slow down. And it's like, I just didn't care. I didn't care.
How old were you by this time?
I was 18 when I went to jail. So I did it for around a year of the hard methamphetamine. I obviously did drugs my whole life, but with the hard stuff about a year, and I basically fried myself within a year. And it was crazy. Lost, I think like 30 pounds. I was probably 125 pounds when I went to jail. And I'm 225. So, and that's really the story, man. Like from that point on, I continued to run away from pain. I just got out of the hard stuff. I moved on to alcohol. And if you see my life, it's just a timeline of me skipping around vice to vice, but never fully healing. And it just got to a point where I'm married to my beautiful wife. I have a 1-year-old baby son.
Oh, congrats,
and
bro. It's awesome.
Yeah, this was 4 years ago. Now my son's 4, and I am with my wife.
Okay. Gotcha.
But at that moment, I was drinking a fifth a night, dude. Just like going hard, and alcohol was my new choice to drug, alcohol and Xanax. And it got to a point where my wife and son, they just realized like, hey, you're not a good fit for us. Like, you're hurting us. I can't keep my son around you. And, that they left me. And I was at a point in my life where I had lost everything again, probably the third rock bottom in my life. And at that moment is when I decided that I was going to take my own life.
Wow.
And I had the gun in my mouth. I had my finger on the trigger, and it was that moment where I kind of had a realization, and I thank God for this. That realization was, I'm responsible for this. Yeah. And it was the first time in my life that I ever felt that way. Before, it was because of the childhood trauma. It was always like, it's your fault. It's your fault. It's their fault. Nothing's ever going to work for me, that victim mentality. And it was that point where I hit complete rock bottom, and I had nowhere else to go but death or up, that I decided, like, holy shit, like, dude, I am responsible for this. Like, my actions actually got me here. And it got me thinking. And I started to realize that, and I started to become empowered to realize that my actions today can change my future outcome.
Oh, that's good. Dude, thank you, bro, for being so open and sharing, that part of your life with us. There's so much there, but one of the things that really stands out to me towards the end, and I know there's a lot of dudes out there who have gone through traumatic situations. They've gone through things growing up, where they tend to, as they start to get older, it's almost like they identify through that victim mentality. Like, and that thing destroys us. It destroyed me for a long time too. And I still continually have to work on it. It's a practice, but I'm wondering if you can maybe, I'm guessing you probably have some good insight on this through your experience. Like, when you recognize that, how did you get through it, and how do you continue to work on that? And what would you say to another dude out there who might be struggling with that a little bit? Maybe he doesn't even know it too.
Right. And this is the honest and sad truth about where I see a lot of people are at, is that they haven't hit rock bottom yet.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is I believe that a lot of people need to, and because I believe that a lot of people are very hard-headed, very hard-headed, and right. It's not my fault. It's not. And that's where I was. And so I would suggest, like, checking yourself and taking responsibility for everything in your life before you can hit that spot and get the help you need. But I can guarantee you that if you're not feeling the pain yet, then it's going to be extremely hard to have that realization and that self-awareness that it is your fault.
Yeah. So
I wish I had a better answer.
No,
honestly.
I love it.
What I mean?
It's personal responsibility. I mean, you hit it, is when it comes down to it. But I think that the issue that we most run into, and I myself experienced this, is I just had no awareness of it. It took that bottom, it took that hurt, that pain, in order for God to enlighten me and kind of open that door up where I could see, like, holy shit, like, this is, okay, wait a minute. This is me. Right. This is my choice. I'm the one who has to choose to feel like X, Y, or Z today. I'm the one who has a choice to make if I'm going to go down this path to the right, which could kill me, or this path, down, the straight and narrow that's hopefully going to empower me and help me be a better man. So that kind of leads into this. Like, how do you turn that weakness into strength?
Man, it's, again, like, I believe that accountability is everything. Like, I don't think that I would have had that realization, like life sucks unless my wife and kid were in my life.
Yeah.
And left. So, explain what you just said to me again. Like, let me get a better view on.
Well, because I think a lot of us, we look at these things that have happened to us. We mentioned the victim mentality, right? We mentioned we need to have some awareness of what that is. But like a lot of times I see guys who will stay in that mentality because they, like you said, you didn't talk about something for a long time because it hurt you. And you could look at that as a sense of weakness, right? I'm sure maybe you did for many years. I know another buddy of mine who went through something similar, didn't talk about it forever because he was so hurt and he didn't know how to express it, and he didn't want anyone to think he was weak. But contrary to that, Paul says in the Bible, even, when I'm weak, I am strong. And so how do we take those weaknesses and flip them into strengths and use them to help other people?
Man, you have to realize that the purpose of everything you go through, all the pain, is growth. Like when you can change your perspective on what's actually happening to you in the background of things, then you can see that you can embrace it and feel it and let it change you, if that makes sense. So I think a lot of us push it away. We don't want to speak about it because it's painful. So we keep pushing it down and down and down, and we continue to grow that pain. But if we come to the realization, maybe through hearing somebody's story, or maybe through hitting your own rock bottom, that, man, on the backside of all this disaster, all this chaos and pain, something good is happening. And that's like a spiritual maturity, or just a maturity inside of you that's more tolerant to pain, has
good,
an inner strength that can help others in this world. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I'd be who I am today, helping hundreds of people, being an influence in any way, if I didn't go through the things I went through. So the perspective is everything on that.
Man, perspective is key. You heard that, man. I heard that right too. That's so true. How do we frame our current situation up? Do we look at the glass half full? Do we look at it half empty? Like we have a choice for that. I want to ask you one more question, and then I want to jump into Rogers Fitness Academy, because I'm so pumped to hear about that, like how you started it, how you're helping dudes out there. But I thought this was an interesting question in some of the notes I had on your background. You mentioned about self-talk and self-criticism. And then you said it's the key to overcoming self-doubt. So I was hoping maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on that. Did you lose me there? Okay, there. I think I'm back.
I lost you. Okay. Yeah, we're good.
Did you?
I got self-talk and self-criticism.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. I think the internet signal dropped real quick, but self-talk, self-criticism, and then you said it's the key to overcoming self-doubt. So how does that kind of go together? I just wanted to see if you'd elaborate a little bit more on that.
See, self-criticism is a very effective tool, in my opinion, if you're willing to get up and work. So I believe that if you can set a promise for yourself, like, hey, I'm going to wake up early, and you keep skipping steps, and you're fully capable of waking up early, and you can motivate yourself by telling yourself, like, yo, like, stop being a bitch, get the fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? Like this self-criticism, but then you have people that have bad self-talk, right? And they actually believe what they're saying to themselves. So I believe that self-criticism is something that comes from the strength of self-belief. Like, you can't really talk to yourself like that and let it motivate you and be your own coach unless you're confident enough, or possibly you've seen enough of a result to know that you're able to do that work.
Yeah. I know a lot of dudes listen to and like David Goggins. He's the first one that came to my mind when you're talking about that self-motivation, and he's not critical of himself so much as he's motivating himself, to get up and get out there and stay hard. That's like his tagline, like stay hard, because man, otherwise, we become soft and weak. And like my father-in-law would say, a big bag of donuts, man. We can't do that. All right. Well, cool, man. So let's roll in and let's talk about Rogers Fitness Academy. Obviously you gave us some background on your story. You went from, a gun in your mouth and almost ending your life to a beautiful family, a wife, a son, and now a business that you've started to help other men stay fit and stay healthy. So how did that start? And kind of take us through that a little bit. And then let's talk about what it is. What does a routine look like? If anyone was interested in it, how could they get more info, all that good stuff?
Yeah. So I believe that I'm that type of believer that's like everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And when I was talking about like embracing pain and changing your perspective on it, what happened was I lost my job that I had for 6 years, a legitimate career. I was a foreman electrician, a commercial electrician, and they just one day said, "Hey, you don't have a job anymore." COVID hit, boom,
Wow.
it was over, and I lost my job, I lost my income, I lost my ability to provide for my family. And I went home, and I was depressed for like the first week. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I went and got another job, and I got fired within 2 weeks. The guys did not like me. I'm a born leader. I walked in and I was like, this is what I am. This is who that's the type of person I am.
Yeah.
That's probably why I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not cut out to be under people. Yeah. And they fired me, and all these bad things were happening. And I was just like, I was sober at the time, but it was testing me, dude. It was testing the hell out of me. And, I, instead of getting really down on myself and depressed, I started to really put my head together and think like, what can I do to never allow anybody else to like tell me how much money I can make, how much I can work. And I started to think of all the things that I've overcome in the last, it was 2 years at that point, and all the steps that I took to become that person with mental strength and strong character and extremely fit and disciplined. And I started to put together a program of those steps, with those steps that I took from that gun in my mouth to the point I was there. And then I said, it worked for me. Let's see if it works for anybody else.
Yeah. A
couple guys jumped on, lost 50 pounds in 3 months. And I was like, nice. I was very thankful they're hard workers, because if they weren't, I probably wanted to start the business. I was like, I'm good at this. And I started to push it out into the market, and within 6 months had a 6-figure business. And so, my objective with my clients is growth, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. A lot of it, it resonates from me telling my story and practicing exactly what I preach. And I'm doing the steps with them. It's all online, so it doesn't really matter where you're at. I have clients all over the world, and I use fitness and nutrition as a tool. Okay. I'm not your regular fitness and nutrition coach. If you go look at my content, I don't talk about fitness. I don't talk about six packs. I never have. I use it as a tool for a few reasons. Stress management. When you put yourself in a situation where you're feeling pain on a daily basis routinely, and you're thinking and breathing your way through it, it rewires your brain to tolerate pain, to tolerate stress. And when your intention is that, it does just that. And so I use it as a tool. And then with the nutrition, if you can control what you ingest, like, you can do anything. And I 100% believe that it's a very hard thing to do, to diet. And then we do like one-on-one calls every other week, and we do group calls every week. And it's just a very intensive program. And man, the type of results I've given clients is just amazing.
Can you give a couple examples of like what, with a couple of the top points or whatever of specifically to the program that might help someone out there see if it's might be a good fit for them or something they want to check out?
Yeah. I mean, I help people all the way from, hey, I need to lose a bunch of fat, or, hey, I'm not very driven, I'm not self-motivated, or I'm not disciplined, to somebody that, is like, hey, bro, my marriage is falling apart. My life is falling apart. I see everything. Something needs to happen now. Like, I'm that last stand for them that helps them pull out of that and become and reach their full potential. Yeah. And honestly, it's crazy to see, like, if you want to see what you're made of, come to me. Like, I will show you who you are. And my goal is to help you find your true identity and be very confident in that. Exactly.
So I love it, man. And I love the variety of options because you're really just talking about life stuff too. And everything kind of flows together. Everything comes together. Like, we can be as healthy as shit with our bodies and have, six pack abs, which I've never had before, by the way, but hey, who knows, maybe at 40, maybe I'll get some one day.
Right.
But we could have the physical features, we could have all that. But man, if we're in a dark place mentally or spiritually, we're just not I mean, what is that? Does it really matter? Like it all has to kind of come together and work like an engine, and every little piece of that engine needs to function correctly to be at the top of our game. So, and by no means am I saying that I have it all figured out. I definitely don't. It's a practice. That's been coming up a lot lately. It's a practice because I don't think that I'm ever going to get to a point like where I just arrive and, oh my God, it's euphoric and it's great. Right. I mean, part of the fun is like the journey and the ups and downs there, even on the shitty days, it's like, okay, why am I doing this? Oh yeah. Yep. It's kind of like golf. I'll go out and hit like 30 terrible shots, but then I have those like 5 that are just on the money, bro. And I'm like, okay, that's why I keep playing golf. When like 5 shots before I was like ready to throw my damn club in the lake or whatever and just be done with it. Oh, it's funny, man.
It's a lifelong process. Absolutely.
Yeah. What about daily habits? What is maybe this, like, what is your daily routine for Eric look like? Like what do you do? And I know every day kind of fluctuates depending on our schedules and stuff, but what is what does that look like for you?
So for a while, when I decided to fully commit and get sober, my wake ups were, 4:00 in the morning, 3:30 to 4:00 in the morning, and exercising, eating 7 meals a day. Like I went all in on the discipline, and I'm a believer in making your routine work for you and not your routine work for you. Not you. Sorry, that's right. You had it. I know what you know what I mean. Yeah. I think I was right the first time because every season of your life is different, and you're going through things. Everything's, you're going through seasons that you may be dealing with depression. Maybe you need to add something in your routine that's going to help with that. And maybe you're happy, but you're dealing with anxiety. So you need to add something in your routine to take care of that. And so it changes as we go. At this point in my life, I always wake up and I always jump on the Stairmaster, and I put myself in a state of suffering immediately. And I put a hoodie on and I hate it. I want to crawl out of my skin. I want to get off. Yeah. And then that's where I get to fight that inner bitch and prepare myself to go destroy it, man, to go kill it. Because if you start your day off with suffering and instead of hitting that snooze button and being comfortable, like it's going to change the outcome of your day, which is going to change the outcome of your future. Man, I read my Bible. I pray. I do like I am statements depending on where my self-doubt is for that day. And I eat my 7 meals a day. I hit the gym later on. I run my business. I spend time with my family. Like that's my life. Good, man. And my goal for everybody is to help them figure out what their vision is in life. Like, what do you want?
Yeah. What's your purpose?
Right. Then you need to ask the person that you're trying to become, what did you do to get there on a daily basis? And that's how you need to construct your daily routine, your daily habits. They should be aligned with who you're trying to become. So everybody's different. And that's what the program is. It's all customized to that.
Yeah. Nice, man. Nice. So if someone wanted to reach out, if they want to find more info, where's the best place they could do that, Eric?
I'm mostly on Instagram. So if you want to find me at @thereal_Eric Rogers, and you guys can message me. I mean, you'll see the content. I post like 3 times a day. I'm really into it. So try to give as much value as I possibly can. Nice. So I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. So we'll make sure those links are in the show notes for you. We also put Eric's Facebook link in there, as well as YouTube channel, so you can find those in there. Eric, dude, it's been a pleasure, man. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast today. Anything that you want to leave our audience with, any last words of advice, encouragement, or anything you want to say before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I think that your progress is, you're going to have hard days. You're going to have really good days. You're going to have really bad days. And on those bad days, like, to be very grateful that you're even alive. Yeah. And what I mean by that is we are blessed to have the bare minimum in life: our breath, our clothes, our food. And if we can find gratitude in the smallest little things, then bad days don't affect us as much. That's right? Good. Try to become someone that's so strong that if you had everything taken away from you, you still would hold on to your morals. You would still hold on to your character, and your standards would stay high, because that's the one thing that you can't have taken away from you is your character.
Love that, man. Love that gratitude, PMA, positive mental attitude. Man, it really helps just get through any day. So I can't agree more with you. Eric, thanks so much again, man, for coming on the podcast today. It was really a pleasure to get to have you on, get to know you a little bit. We'll have to link up sometime and grab coffee or something, man. We're close by. So, who knows, man, we'll keep in touch for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, brother.
Right on. Thanks, man. I hope something spoke to you today. Share the podcast with a friend. If you're tired of drinking, you can head on over to quitdrinkingdude.com. Check out the 30-day challenge there. Connect with Eric at @the_Eric Rogers on Instagram. Once again, the rest of his links will be in the show notes as well. And man, I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. Peace, love, and respect. Keep your blood clean.